We're talking about turn on the forehand and turn on the haunches. These are specifically about leg yields when you're riding your horse. You know, when you think about riding, you think about riding a lot with your reins, with, you know, kind of moving the horse's head around, things like that, but there is a tremendous amount of power in the leg when you're riding. If you train your horse to respond to leg yields from the ground first with physical pressure, you can then actually steer your horse from using your legs without pulling on the reins too much. So the first concept that I'm going to talk about is the turn on the forehand. And we use that term kind of loosely in this lesson. It could have a variety of meanings to it. But whenever you think about it, think of it as kind of the same as disengaging the hindquarters. It's the same thing as moving the horse's hindquarters over while the front feet stay relatively in one position. All right? So turn on the forehand. When you think of turn on the forehand, if you ever get them confused, just replace the word turn with pivot, and it'd be pivot on the forehand or pivot on the front feet. And then that will kind of help explain what you're needing to do. You're wanting to pivot on the front feet while the back feet move around them in a bigger circle, okay? So here's how it works. The first thing that you need to understand about the turn on the forehand is that it is a leg yield. Really, the only thing that your hands do with the reins is it just keeps the front feet still. You know, whenever you're adding leg yields or you're asking a horse to do something, a lot of times the horse, if they're confused, they will just assume that they're supposed to step forward, especially when you're first teaching a horse leg yields. All right, they'll feel the leg pressure, and they've always been taught that when they feel legs come in and squeeze, that they're supposed to move forward. Well, not necessarily on this one. We're trying to teach them some lateral movement with the hindquarters. So with this one, the reins are just simply there just to keep the horse's front feet still while the back feet move over. So I'm just going to kind of get on the edge of contact with these reins. I am using kind of a neck rein here. This would be a direct rein. This is a neck rein or an indirect rein. All right, so watch my left foot. All right, it's kind of in a neutral position right now. My heels are down, and now I'm just going to take that heel and I'm just going to bring it back and touch the hair on the side of the horse. And you see that she moved her hip over, okay? So that's what I'm looking for with a turn on the forehand. I'm going to demonstrate it a little bit more here and just get a little more action out of her. I have my reins up close to contact. I'm going to bring that heel back, and I'm just kind of allowing her to move off. Every time she takes a step, I release with that heel, and then I touch again every time she stalls out. So that's what we're looking for in the turn on the forehand. We should practice this on both sides. So if I want to do this other side, I'm just going to bring this right heel back. Here it comes. And now we have our hip moving over to my left at this point. I'm just kind of controlling that front end, keeping it from moving forward, all right? So in its simplest form, that is a turn on the forehand. As you practice these things, just remember the basics. Remember that you're halting the front feet with your reins. You're adding pressure with your heel at the center of the barrel. As soon as you get a response with the horse stepping over properly, give that release of pressure immediately. As you get into upper level phases, you can ask for more steps along the way. Now, if you have problems with your horse not understanding this, or maybe they're just lazy and they're not cooperating with you, you can always use a riding crop, or maybe the end of your rommel here, your ramel, you can kind of move it over, or you can use just a lead rope, anything that would create an environment over here that they would want to move away from. So you would apply the leg pressure and then use your crop right here at the hip, and as soon as they move off of it, release all pressure, and you'll have a turn on the forehand.